Today, we are going to discuss about a topic called tablespace management in PostGres. Okay, tablespace management in PostGres. So in this, we are going to discuss about what does it mean by a table space and how can we create a table spaces in Postgres and how can we manage, like how can we rename and how can we check which are all the tables that are available in the table space. Those kind of options we are going to explore. Okay. So first, before going with in detail about the table space management, what we are going to discuss is like what is table space. Okay, so actually when we were discussing about the database management, what we have discussed, database, right? Database contains schemas, right? Database contains schemas contains db objects, right? Database contains schemas and schemas contains db objects. That's what we have discussed. Okay, when I say database contains schemas and schemas contain database objects, these are all the logical identities. Okay, these are all the logical things. Okay, where we can see these are all the logical things where we can see. Okay, so the point that I wanted to make you understand is whenever you create any table, okay, whenever you create any table, okay, logically that table is getting created in a schema, but physically it should go and sit somewhere, right? So logically the table is going to get created in a schema which you have mentioned using create table schema num dot table name likewise. Okay, so logically the table is going to get created on the schema, but physically it has to go and sit somewhere. Okay, that's where the table space comes into picture. That's where the table space comes into picture. Okay, so whenever you create any database, okay, whenever you create any database, each database will be assigned with a table space. Okay, each database will be assigned with a table space. Okay, by default whenever you create any database, pg underscore default is the default table space. Pg underscore default is the default table space which will be assigned to the newly created, which will be assigned to the newly created database. Okay, whenever you create any objects in the database and without specifying any table space name, those objects will go and sit on the these objects will go and sit on the pg underscore default table space physically. Okay, physically. And one more thing is, see, let's say I have a 10 databases like DB1, DB2, DB3, like so on. So it is not recommended to give the same default table space which is like PG underscore default. Okay, suppose if you want to perform any administrative operations, okay, if you want to perform any administrative operations exclusively for the DB1, it might impact DB2, DB3, DB4 as well, because all the objects related to the all the databases are sitting on the PG underscore default table space only, right? So that's the reason why, to make the administrator's job easy, okay, and with the help of a table spaces, administrators can control the layout of the Postgres databases. Okay, can control the layout of the Postgres database. So let me go and check. So let me check whether the Postgres is running or not. ps hyphen eaf grep Postgres. See, the Postgres is not running. Let me start the Postgres. Okay, I have started the Postgres. Now let me log in. So slash l. Okay, when I give slash l, it gives a list of databases. Let me give a slash l plus. When I give a slash l plus, see, there is a table space called pg underscore default for all the databases. What is the default table space? Pg underscore default. Okay, so whenever you install Postgres cluster, okay, whenever you install Postgres cluster, two table spaces comes into by default. Two table spaces will be created. One is pg underscore default, one is pg underscore default, and second one is pg underscore, second one is pg underscore global. These two are the default table spaces that will be created automatically whenever you create. These will be the default table spaces that will be created whenever you create what Postgres cluster. Okay, whenever you create a Postgres cluster, what is pg underscore global? Pg underscore global is a pg underscore global is pg underscore global is a what, a table space. pg underscore global is a table space which contains, okay, which contains only global objects data, which contains only global objects data. What does it mean by global objects? Are system objects data. Global objects are system objects data. When I say system objects are global objects, these are the data dictionaries, okay. All the data dictionaries go and sit in the pg underscore global table space, okay. Pg underscore default, as I have shown you, pg underscore default stores the user related data. User stores the user related data. Stores the user related data. Pg underscore default stores the user related data. Pg underscore global stores the global objects are system objects data. System objects data. These are all the two default table spaces that will be created whenever you initialize the PostGres cluster. This is very important. Pg underscore default stores the user related data. Pg underscore global stores the objects information related to global objects or system objects. Okay, so if you go and check in the data directory, there is a, let me go to data directory, cd slash u02 postgres data directory ls-ltr. So when you see, there is a directory called pg underscore tbl spc. Initially this pg underscore tbl spc is empty. If you see, initially the pg underscore tbl spc directory is empty. Whenever you create, okay, whenever you create any user defined table spaces, okay, whenever you create any user defined table spaces, an entry will be added in the pg underscore table tbl spc directory, which contains the oid of the table space along with the symbolic location to the table space in location, symbolic link to the table space location. Then how can we create, how to create table space, how to create table space, how to create table space, how to create table space. You can use create tablespace, create tablespace name. What is the tablespace name? Like tablespace name, create tablespace name, and location where you want to create, location where you want to create, okay, location where you want to create. This is how you need to create a table space, okay. So whenever you create the table space, whoever executes, okay, whoever executes the create table space, whoever executes the create table space command will be the owner of the table space. Whoever executes the create table space command will be the owner of the table space, owner of the table space, okay. And in postgres there is no concept of data files, okay, there is no concept of adding or resizing the data files, okay, because whenever you create a table space in a particular mount point, that table space can grow up to the mount point capacity. That table space can grow up to the mount point capacity. If you take Oracle as an example, after creating a table space in Oracle, what we will do, we will create some data files and we will add or resize the data files according to our requirement. But in Postgres there is no such concept, okay. In Postgres there is no such concept. Whenever you create, okay, whenever you create any table space in a particular directory, that table space can grow up to the mount point capacity, okay. So as I said, whoever executes the create table space command will be the owner of the table space, okay. If you want to have a particular user as a owner, then create table space, table space name, create table space name, owner, owner name, owner, owner name, and location, the location where you want to create, location where you want to create. This is how you need to create the table space. And one more thing that you need to remember is table space name should not start with the pg underscore, okay. Table space name should not start with the pg underscore, okay. Now let's go and check how can we create a table space. Now let's go and check how can we create a table space. Before that what we are going to check is like, so what are the things that we need? So what is the command? Create table space name, and we are giving a location. Okay, that location should be pre-exist. Okay, that location should be pre-exist. So we need to create the this location first, then this location should be empty only. Okay, this should be an empty location, and the owner of this location should be the, it should be owned by the Postgres OS user. Postgres OS user, these three you need to remember. Okay, so whenever you want to create, okay, whenever you want to create any table space, so the location should be available and the location should be empty, and that location should be owned by the OS Postgres user or OS Postgres user. These are all the prerequisites that we need to take care, prerequisites that we need to keep in mind to before creating a table space. Now what I'm trying to do, right? So I have a mount point called /u02. In the /u02, I'm going to create a table space. Okay, /u02. I'm going to give like table space. Here I am going to create a table space with the name test. Test underscore data is a table space name that I wanted to create, and I'm going to give you a location called u02 table space. Okay, first let us go and check, do we have that directory? So cd/u02, do we have any directory with name table space? No. Mkdir table space, sorry, mkdir table space. So I have a permission. Then now what I'll do, right? Just I log in as a root user. Okay, I log in as a root user and I'll create a this location. I log in as a root user and I'll create this location, and I'll change the ownership to Postgres, because that location should be owned by whom? That location should be owned by Postgres OS user /u02 mkdir. What is that mkdir? What I'm going to create a table spaces. Okay, now what I'll do, I wanted to change the ownership, right? chown -r postgres postgres. Why I'm going to change the ownership? I need to change the ownership because that location should be owned by whom? That location should be owned by the Postgres user only. chown -r postgres /u02/table spaces. Okay, now let's log into the database. And one more thing is, table space is a global level objects, okay, or cluster level objects. So you can create table space by connecting to any of the database. Okay, table space is a global level objects or cluster level objects. You can create a table space by connecting to any database. Okay, now let me create a table space. Create table space. And what is the table space name? Table space name is test underscore data location. Okay, location /u02 /table spaces. See, this is how you need to create a table space. Okay, so let me go to, see, if you see, go to table spaces, an entry will be added here. What is this entry that we are going to discuss anyway? So now let me go to the data directory. Okay, cd/u02 postgres data directory ls-ltr cd pg underscore tblspc pg underscore tblspc pwdls. Okay, so an entry will be, as I said, an entry will be added with the OID of the table space pointing to the location of the table space. Okay, so pg underscore tblspc is a directory which contains the information about the user defined table spaces and symbolic link to the location. What is this 40961? 40961 is a OID, object identifier of the object identifier. Okay, object identifier of the table space. Now let's go and check. How can we check? Okay, so what is the command to check the table spaces and those things we are going to discuss now. Okay, /db Okay, slash db is a command to list the table spaces. Slash db is a command to list the table spaces. Slash db is a command to check the list the table spaces. Slash db plus gives you the detailed listing. Gives you detailed listing. Slash db list the table spaces. Slash db plus gives you the detailed listing, and pg underscore table spaces. Okay, pg underscore table spaces is a data dictionary. Pg underscore table space is a data dictionary which contains the information about the all the table spaces that are available in the postgres. Okay, pg underscore table space is a data dictionary which contains the information about the all the table spaces that are available in the postgres cluster. Now let's go and check one by one. Okay, slash db. So as I said, pg underscore default and pg underscore global are the default table spaces which will be created whenever you initialize the postgres cluster, and whatever the table space test underscore data that we have created, that is showing up here. Okay, that is showing up here. Slash db plus gives you the table space information along with the sizes. Now, what is the other slash d? pg underscore table spaces. Sorry, pg underscore table space. See, select OID, comma, SPC name refers to table space name from pg underscore table space. Okay, select OID comma SPC name from pg underscore table space. See, 40961 is the OID of the table space test underscore data. If you see here, as I said, in pg underscore tbl SPC location, an entry will be added with the OID of the table space pointing to the OID of the table space pointing to the location where we have created the table space. Okay, this is about, okay, this is about the how we are going to how we can create the table space in the postgres. Now what I'm trying to do, right, as I said, each and every database, okay, each and every database will be having one table space. By default, if you don't mention, okay, by default if you don't mention any table space information while creating a database, what is the default database that is going to get allocated? pg underscore default. Now what I'm going to do, right, just I'm going to create a database. Okay, I'm going to create a database called create a database called PG bouncer. I'm going to create a database called PG bouncer, and I'm going to assign whatever the test data table space that I have created. Okay, this is the table space that I have created. Okay, so PG bouncer is the database name and test underscore data is a table space. How can we do that? How can we do that is while creating a database. Okay, create database PG bouncer, create database PG bouncer and table space, create database PG bouncer and table space. What is the table space name? The table space name is test underscore data. Whenever you do this, what, so okay, the default data, the default table space for this PG underscore bouncer database will be the test underscore data. Now let's go ahead and do. Okay, let me create a database. Okay, so 1 minute. Create database pg bouncer. Okay, create database pg bouncer table space test underscore data. Create database pg bouncer table space test underscore data slash l plus pg bouncer. Okay, slash l plus pg bouncer. If you see, what is the table space that we are, what is the table space? Pg underscore for the database pg underscore bouncer. So for the pg underscore bouncer database, test underscore data is the default database. Okay, what does it mean by default database? Okay, whenever you create, okay, whenever you create any objects in the, okay, whenever you create any objects in the pg bouncer database, by default those objects will go and get created in the test underscore data table space. Okay, so whenever you create any objects in the pg underscore bouncer database without specifying a table space name while creating, then all the objects will go and sit on the test underscore data table space. Now what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to create one more database. Okay, create database. Okay, create a database pooler. Pooler is the database that I am going to create. Did I mention any table space name? No. As I did not mention any table space name, what will be the default table space? PG underscore default. PG underscore default will be the default table space because I did not mention any table space name. Right. Now let me go and create that. Okay. So create database. Okay. Create database pooler. Now slash L plus pooler. Slash L plus pooler. So what is the table space? PG underscore default is the table space for the database pooler. Now what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to change. Okay, I'm trying to change what? I'm trying to change the table default table space of the polar database from PG underscore default to test underscore data. Change it to test underscore data. How can we do that? How can we do that is alter the command to change the default table space of the database is alter database. Okay, alter database. What is the database name? Pooler. Alter database name with table space. Alter database name pooler with table space test underscore data. So the previously what was the default table space for the polar database? What was the default table space for the polar database? The default table space for the polar database was pg underscore default. Okay, so and we are trying to change the default table space of the polar database from pg underscore default to the test underscore data. Pg underscore default to the test underscore data. This is the command to change. Okay, so whenever we alter, okay, whenever we alter the default table space of the particular database, then all the objects that are available in the default table space will be moved from pg underscore default to the test data table space. Okay, as we are changing the default table space for a particular database, all the objects that are related to the particular data, the database will be moved from old default table space to the new default table space. Okay, old default table space to the new default table space. Now let me change the default table space of a polar database. How can we do that? Alter database pooler. Okay, alter database pooler with table space. Alter database pooler with table space. What is the table space? With the table space test underscore data. Alter database pooler with table space test underscore data. Okay, now let's check what is the default table space of the database slash L plus pooler. So the default table space of the database pooler is a test underscore data. Now let's check what is the default table space of the PG bouncer test underscore data. So from this what we can conclude? Okay, we can conclude, okay, multiple databases. Okay, test underscore data is a table space here. For which are all the databases? This is a default table space. For polar database, test underscore data is a default table space, and for pg bouncer database, also test underscore data is a default table space, right? So from this what we can conclude, okay, in postgres, okay, in post multiple databases, okay, multiple databases can have okay, multiple database can have the same table space, okay, as a default table space, or we can create, okay, multiple databases can use, okay, multiple databases can use same table space to create the objects. So how can is this possible is, right? In postgres, table spaces are cluster level objects, are instance level objects, are global level objects. Okay, table space is a instance level object or global level object, which means they are independent of the database. Okay, they are independent of the database. Okay, they are not depending upon the database. That's the reason why multiple databases can have the same table space as a default table space. Okay, multiple databases can have a same multiple database can have same table space as a default table space. Now let's go and check how can we create, okay, how can we create objects on a table space. Okay, how can we create the objects? Okay, now let me connect to the pg bouncer database. Okay, let me connect to the pg bouncer database. Okay, I have connected to the PG Bouncer database. Now I'm trying to create a table. Okay, create table. Do we have any schemas? Let me check /dn. Okay, I have schema 1 and schema 2. Now what I'm trying to do, right? Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to create objects. Okay, let me. I'm going to connect to the PG Bouncer database. I'm going to create a connect to the PG Post database. In the schema SCH1, I'm going to create two tables called T1 and T2, and let's check in which table space it is going to get created. In which table space it is going to get created. Okay. Now let me go there. Okay. Create table T schema 1 schema name dot table names. Anyway, schema management is our next session. Okay, create table schema sh1 dot t1 n space numeric. I have created one table. Second table, create table sh1 dot t2 n space var 2 of 10. Sorry, create table schema to n space varchar of 10. Varchar of 10. See, I have created now. So what is the location of this table space? The location of this table space is cd slash u02 slash postgres u02 slash table spaces. Right now let's go and check. Okay, ls you see a one more directory called pg15. Okay, let me go there, we'll see. ls, now you are seeing 409621 and 40963. We'll check what is 409621 and 40963. So how can we check? Is like, let me go here, select oid comma dat name from pg underscore databases, pg underscore database. See, 40962 and 40963 are the OIDs of the OIDs of the Polar database and PG Bouncer database. Just remember that. Okay. So in which database we have created the tables PG Bouncer. So what is the OID of the PG Bouncer? Let me go to 40962. Okay. CD 40962 ls. See, you are seeing some files. What is this? What is the location? Okay, the location is tablespace location slash some pgv15 slash oid of the database. What it refers to, right? What it refers to is whenever you create, okay, whenever you create any table, okay, whenever you create any table, whenever you create, 1 minute, whenever you create any table on a particular database, okay, so by default it is going to get created on the default table space of the database. In our case, for the PG Bouncer database, what is the default table space? The default table space for the PG Bouncer database is test underscore data. Okay, under test underscore data location, what is the location? Slash u02 slash table spaces. This is the location of the test underscore 2 table space. Okay, under that an entry will be added with the oid of the database. Okay, first an entry will be added with the version of the postgres, which is like pgv15. If you see here, there is an entry called pg15, which is the version of the postgres cluster. Under that an entry will be added with the oid of the database. An entry will be added with the oid of the database, followed by whatever the tables that you are going to get created, those tables will be created in that location. Okay, so to simplify this, whenever we create any table on a particular table space, a subfolder will be created under the table space directory. A subfolder will be created under the table space directory. Okay, so we have created two tables in this location. Sorry, we have created two tables in the PG Bouncer database. Now let us go and check what is the table space. How can we check the table space for a particular table? Okay, there is a data dictionary called PG underscore tables. Select schema name, comma, table name, comma, owner. sorry, table name comma owner comma table space from pg underscore tables, where what is the table that we have created? Table name in t1 comma t2. 1 minute. Table owner, it's not a owner, it's a table owner. What is the column name? Table owner. Table owner comma select schema name comma table owner comma table space from pg underscore tables, where table name in t1 comma t2. See, so in which schema we have created t1 t2? Schema 1 we have created. What is the owner? Table name. What is the table owner? PostGres. So why table space is empty? Why table space is empty, right? Okay, so whenever you create any table without specifying a table name, whenever you create any table without specifying a table name, okay, whenever you create any table without specifying a table name, by default that table will be created on the default table space of the database. Okay, by default that table will be created on the default table space of the database. Okay, by default table space of the database. Okay, whenever you are seeing table space entry for a particular table is, whenever you are seeing table space column for a particular table is empty, that means this table is created on the default table space of the database. How can we check the default table space of the database? /l plus database name. If you see here, so as it is empty, and if you see what is the table space name? Test underscore data. Okay, the table space name is test underscore data. So as it has been created on the test underscore data table space only, so it is empty. Now let's check how to move a table from one table space to another table space. Okay, how can we move a table from one table space to another table space? Okay, for now I am going to move t1 is currently available in the default table space of the database, which is like test underscore data. That's why the entry is empty. From test underscore data, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to move this table to pg underscore default table database. Okay, pg underscore default table space. I'm trying to change the table space location. I'm trying to change the table space of a table t1 from test underscore data to pg default. Okay, how can we do that? Alter table. Okay, alter table. What is the schema name? Schema name dot table name. Alter table. Let me give you the command. Okay, how can we change the table space of a particular table? Okay, alter table schema name dot table name. Alter table schema name dot table name. Set table space. Set table space new table space name. Set table space new table space name. This is how you can, this is the command to change the table space of a particular table. Okay, now let me go and execute the same. Alter table schema name dot table name. Set table space. Set table space. What is the new table space name? Now new table space name I am going to give is pg underscore default. See, I have changed. Now let me execute the same query. Now let me execute the same query to check. See, if you see for the T1 table, the table space entry is showing pg underscore default. Okay, but for T2 table, why the entry is not showing? As we have not mentioned any table space name while creating a table. So whenever you don't mention the table space name, what will happen? What will happen is like by default it is going to get created on the default table space of the database. So whenever a particular table is going to get created on the default table space of the database, then the table space entry will be empty. Okay, the table space entry will be empty. After moving the table t1 from pg underscore from test underscore data table space to pg underscore default table space, an entry here it is showing. Okay, so now how to create objects on a particular table space? Okay, how to create objects on a particular table space? How can we do that? Is like create table. Okay, create table. I'm going to create an schema1 dot t3, and if you want to create a table and a particular table space, then you need to mention table space pg underscore default, pg underscore default. Okay, let me do that. Okay, let me do that. So I'm in the pg bouncer database now. Let me do create table. What is the schema name dot table name? And schema name dot table name n numeric. We create table name, create table name and table space pg underscore default, table space pg underscore default. Now let us check where it has been created. Okay, where it has been created, comma t3. Okay, see where it has been created, pg underscore default table space, it has been created. Now what I'm trying to do, that I'm trying to mimic a one more scenario. Create table schema 1 dot t4 n space numeric, n space numeric table space test underscore data. Okay, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to create one more table, create table schema 1 dot t5. Okay, schema 1 dot t5 n space numeric table space. I'm not mentioning any table space name. Okay, so now let's go and check where all these tables will be created. Okay, where table name like, okay, where table name like t percentile. So t percentile means it will list that list of tables whose name starts with t. Okay. See, if you see here, create table schema 1.t4, I mentioned test underscore data. Here, create table schema 1.t5, I did not mention any table space name. Okay, let's see where all those has been created. Okay, for t4, though I have mentioned test underscore data, it is empty here. Table space name is empty here. For T5 also, it is empty. Okay. So why it is empty for T4, right? Okay. Though you mentioned test underscore data is a table space, if you check for the PG bouncer database, what is the default table space? For the PG bouncer database, what is the default table space? Sorry, /l plus pg bouncer. What is the default table space for this database? Test underscore data. Though you mention or you don't mention, okay, though you mention or you don't mention, that table will be created on the default table space of the database, which is like test underscore data. That is the reason why entries for T4 and T5 are empty. Entries for T4 and T5 are empty. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move all the objects from one table space to the another table space. How can we do that? Alter. I see how many things I have. Okay, I have a test underscore data table space. I have a test underscore data table space. Under this I have t2 comma, what are all the tables that we have? T2 comma T2 T4 T5. Okay, right, T2 comma T4 comma T5, these are all available in the default table space of the database, which is like test underscore data. I'm going to move all these tables from test underscore data to pg underscore default in a single command, with the help of a single command. How can we do that? Alter table, okay, alter table all in table space, alter table all in table space. What is the old table space name? Test underscore data, set to table space, set table space. What is the new table space name? pg underscore default. Okay, what is the command? Alter table all in table space, old table space name, set table space, new table space name. Okay, alter table all in table space, old table space name, set table space, new table space name. Okay, this moves all the objects from one table space to the another table space. Okay, this moves all the objects from one table space to the another table space. Okay, and one more thing that you need to remember is, okay, during this movement an exclusive lock will be applied. Okay, during this movement an exclusive lock will be applied on the tables. An exclusive lock will be applied on the tables. Now let's go and move all these objects. Okay, let's go and move all these objects. Alter table all in alter table all in table space. Alter table all in table space. So what is the table space name? The table space name is test underscore data. Okay, set table space pg underscore default. Set table space pg underscore default. 1 minute. Alter table all in alter table all in table space. Did I miss anything? Set, where is it? Table space. 1 minute. What is the error? Let me do this again. Some syntax error, I guess. See, it has moved. Now let's check the default. Now let's check the table space location. So now let's check the table space of the all these tables. So what is the table space? The table space has been moved from previously it was empty for some of the tables. Why it is empty? Because they were created on the default table space of the database. That's the reason why they are empty. After moving these tables from pg underscore sorry test underscore data to pg underscore default, this is the location that is showing up here. Okay, and how to rename? Okay, table space alter table space. What is the table space name? Test underscore data rename to app underscore data. This is how you can change the this is how you can rename the table space. Okay, if you want to drop the table space, okay, if you want to drop the table space, drop table space name, drop table space. What is the table space name? App underscore data. So this will be valid whenever the table space is empty. If you want to drop any table space, okay, if you want to drop any table space, the table space should be empty. If you want to drop any table space, the table space should be empty. Okay, so now what else? So how can we, why it is not empty? Why it is not empty? Let's check. Do we have any tables? 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so if you want to drop any table space, the table space should be empty. And the second part is, and next thing that you need to remember is, now let me do one thing. Now let me check who are all the users that are available in the Postgres cluster. PSQL. Okay, su-postgres PSQL/du. Okay, I have a connector user, right? Now I'll connect as a connector user. Okay, I'll connect as a connector user. PSQL hyphen capital U connector hyphen D Postgres hyphen D Postgres. Now we'll do. I'll try to create a table. Create a table. Okay, create a table T1. Create table test4. Okay, n space numeric and table space. What is the table, and which table space I'm going to go and get created? App data. Am I am I able to create the objects and the app data table space? No. So why? Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. Why I am not able to create? Because we need to grant something on the grant. 1 minute. Just ignore this statement because this will be covered in the privilege management grant. Otherwise, what I'll do, right? So to mimic this behavior, right? Just let me connect to the newly created database. What is the newly created database? PG bouncer. Do we have? Yeah. Now just create table test4. I'm going to get created in the app data. 1 minute. Let me grant the permissions. In the public schema, this user is not having a permission. Grant all on schema public to connector. Okay. Now let me try to create this table. I'm able to create. Okay, I'm able to create. How can I be able to create slash db plus app underscore data? Okay, slash db plus app underscore data. Now let me connect to the Postgres database. I wanted to show you something. Okay, I wanted to show you something in Postgres. Okay, now I connected to Postgres database. Let me do the same thing. App underscore data. See, what is the error that you got? Permission denied for a table space app underscore data. Why? So simply creating a table space, okay, will not help. Okay, simply creating a table space will not help for the non-privileged users. Okay, simply creating a table space. Okay, simply creating table space. Simply creating a table space will not help for the non-privileged users. Okay, only super users can create the objects. Okay, non-privileged users. Okay, if you want to allow the user to create the objects in the table space, you need to grant create on table space. Okay, grant, so grant create on table space, grant create on table space. What is the table space name? Grant create on table space. And what is the table space name? The table space name is app underscore data to grant create on table space name to username. What, who is the user? Connector. Who is the user? Connector. So let me grant this and we'll retry the operation. Okay, grant. Okay, let me, I should be as a super user. Grant create on table space. Grant create on table space app underscore data to connector. Okay, I have granted now. Now let us check. See, am I able to create? Yes. So simply creating a table space will not help us. So you need to grant a create on table space privilege to the user. Then only other than super users or other than privileged users will be able to create the objects. Okay. So with this, I am winding up the session for the table space management. And in the next session, we are going to discuss about how we are going to manage the schemas.